Kate, for the invite. Thank you for having me as a keynote. It is my absolute pleasure to be here speaking and sharing with you so much that I've learned in the last 2 weeks. Honestly, when I was finishing off my university, I remember um my vice president back then said, "This is only start of your studies." And gosh, you finish your 4 years of studies, you think, "Gosh, do not tell me I'm only just starting. I'm finishing my education." But I am actually a lifelong learner. There's so much you can learn and pick up from meeting people, from attending these events, official, non-official. All these interactions count towards and making it and make us who we are today. But the experience I've had in last couple of weeks with United Nations, I honestly have met so many incredible women that I kept saying to myself, are these real women? Do they exist? They were so amazing at what they were doing, and they continue to do as well. So, hi everyone. I'm the Viva Coach. I'm life coach for women and business coach for all. In real life, I have, gosh, years on years beyond of experience of working as a professional in management consulting, goes beyond sort of plus 20 years. And in doing so, I've also actually set up my own businesses in real world. So I'm a female founder. I'm also someone who takes huge sort of passion in empowering women. I have been brought up by a single mom. I lost my dad when I was quite young. A strong female figure in my life from very young age. And I've seen the power that can sort of translate into you as a young person. And I now that I'm at that point in my life, able to give that back to my own sort of community and young women around me, I want to do more and more of that. So my professional world, my corporate world, my businesses, my sort of female empowerment piece all comes together in Metaverse as the Viva Coach experience. And I provide coaching services to women, but also business coaching to all, like Paige was saying before. But today I actually want to talk more about my experience, like I've said, from recent United Nations delegate piece. So I was recently selected as United Nations Women UK delegate. And United Nations, I think everyone's well aware of. It's a really well-known organization. CSW is perhaps something that I want to share a little bit more about. So CSW, United Nations CSW. CSW is Commission of Status of Women. It was set long time ago, actually. It was set, it began in 1946. And I was actually days after General Assembly's inaugural meeting heard by the former US First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt and part of the country's delegation that read an open letter to address the women of the world. From there, the CSW have been going on every year, and they have a very clear purpose. They do three core things. They promote women's rights, they document the reality of women's lives throughout the world, and they shape global standards on gender equality and empowerment of women. And that is a huge task to take on board. And CSW have been doing that by actually coming together once a year. So the United Nations CSW Gender Equality Conference is the biggest gender gathering of the year globally. So it's a very big event that happens. It brings together the member states. So all the United Nations member states, so US, UK, of course, part of that. Europe and so many other member states. It brings together grassroots organizations, it brings together NGOs, it brings together delegates. And what happens is they have a theme every year. And the theme for this year was accelerating the achievements of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing with a gender perspective. And that's a really important ask, actually. And almost, if you think about it, they were looking at two polar ends: poverty, financial investment. The two sort of, if you think about it. So actually, this year's conference, Oh, wow. I've sat through debates where you'll be amazed to what countries were saying they want to sign up to and others saying they don't want to sign up to. And I'll give you a quick example. They wanted to define family as a woman married to a man with kids. There's so much issue with that. And I'm so glad with all the discussions that we held, that definition did not go ahead. So family, imagine someone who's a single parent. Are they not a family? Imagine a woman who may adopt a child. Are they not a family? Imagine someone who may have been raped and then ends up conceiving a child and then decides to keep that as her own family. Are they not a family? So it's little things like this, all the way to institutionalized biases and diversity issues that were discussed. So you can imagine it was very, very intense 2 weeks that we had. Now, we are here to celebrate women, but please let me just share with you, there's a reason why CSW comes together every year, and there's some facts that really hit me hard, actually, this year as I've gone through this. Not a single country in the whole wide world has actually achieved gender equality. That's quite sad. I thought when I first heard that, I was like, whoa, that is really sad. And they're not close to it neither, by the way. Over 380 million women and girls are living in extreme poverty. Over 1.2 billion women and girls live in places where safe access to abortion is restricted. 12 million girls under age of 18 are married each year. 12 million. Wow. 130 million girls remain out of school worldwide. There's a lot of work to be done here, and that's exactly why CSW is so important to come together every year. And women shoulders billions of hours of unpaid childcare globally. It could take another 266 years to remove discriminatory laws for women and girls. And women earns just 77 cents for every dollar that men earn. So we discussed a lot of this, and they do this through the 3 different set of events. So they do official events, which are with the member states. They do side events, which are other events held by UN. And then there are parallel events, which are NGOs and charities and other sort of supporting organizations, if you like, that whole event. And I attended events at night, during the day, all across the sort of global time zones, if you like. I attended a 15th plenary session on this policy. So they go through this policy, and in the 2 weeks they discuss all of this, and at the end of it, member states sign it off. And one of the UNESCO report flagged concerns about AI. Now we are in Metaverse. Technology is right at the heart of what we play with every day. And what they said was actually the way the AI has been trained and working through right now, it shows inequality and sexism. The discussions really emphasized the sensitivity of collecting data on women's right, and respecting their privacy. There's so much work to be done. And I love AI, by the way. I think it's really cut down about 30 to 40% of my admin time. I use it every day. So, AI, hooray. But I think it's so important. How are we training this AI? I was actually using a couple of different image producing AIs yesterday just to test this out. And I put in there to say, give me an image of a woman and a man in engineering. And it brought up white woman, white man in engineering. She wasn't wearing a hard hat. He was wearing a hard hat. She was wearing a shirt and a trouser. He was in a uniform. This is the kind of data input that's going into these AIs. I then said, actually, give me a diverse. So I just added another layer to it. And I said, give me a diverse version of this same. And it gave me black woman in engineering. But again, the features were these perfect features, that whole body shape that was there. The hair was sort of flying out of her hard hat. And I'm thinking, that's not even when I'm washing dishes at home, I want to put my hair up. I don't want it flying out. So, it just goes to show how much of data learning and training needs to happen with AI. And that session from UNESCO was amazing. They really went for it, and they criticized and they looked through different things. But the good news is we know that the EU Artificial Intelligence Act has been passed, and the Council of Europe has also passed AI Convention. So it's good that all that's coming through, because that'll really help us with the tech as we move forward. I also attended a side event that talked about equality in STEM industries. And they were talking about strategies about how can we do this. And you'll be surprised, there was actually no groundbreaking stuff in there. But actually the reason for that is because we're still not doing enough of basics. We need to get the education out there. We need to get people interested, our young women interested in STEM, and not feel fear to be in a room full of men when they're in engineering. Or and you know, Paige was saying you can be anything you want. You want to be an astronaut. If you're the only girl in the whole class full of boys, that is okay. And that's the kind of confidence we want to pass on to our girls. So that event was really, really interesting as well, I thought. I can go on with all the different meetings that I attended, but let me just share with you some of the key actions that have started to come through from that. Policy and law commitment. There is the idea around dismantling discriminatory financial practices that hinder the financial independence of women. I was surprised to hear that so many women around the globe still need to have a man signing off on their behalf if they're going to a bank and taking out a loan. And I'm so privileged here in the UK to then just walk into a bank, sign a piece of paper if I wanted to take a loan out. And I'm so proud to be a female founder that I am today. But now I reflect back and think, actually, so many things were actually privileges for me here, whereas that is not the case across the globe. And I want to be part of making that change and ensuring that financial policies that are put out there are actually friendly and are actually bringing the diversity that we want through the doors of venture capital banks, through the doors of those investors, through the doors of independent investments, all of that. And we are part of that community. We invest time and money into each other. And I think we need to continue to do more and more of that. We need to talk to others as well. I can see a couple of men in our audiences today, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see you guys, because allyship is so important. We can't keep preaching to our own selves. We need our allies with us, standing next to us. When I talk to my daughter about empowerment and female empowerment and the fact that she can achieve whatever she wants and thinks of, even for a penny, then she can go out and do this. I also have same conversations about how hard that can be with my son for a female. So he understands the challenges that perhaps his sister's going to go through, and be there to hold her hand and go, I am your ally. It's so important to have that. I had that from my dad. I had him for a short part of my life, but I remember my dad sort of, really empowering my mom and saying, you've taken some time out for kids, but go out. Why don't you go and get your master's done? Why don't you go out and sort of, do what you want to do? I saw that in my life, and I was privileged that I had that kind of male presence in my life. My husband is the same, and my son is growing out to be this absolutely wonderful man who really appreciates, respects women, and realizes that actually we do make half of this world. And that is the very important bit. This is not a charity act. Helping, supporting female empowerment is not a charity act. It is actually a human right. We make half of this world, so shouldn't we have the same rights as what our male counterparts do as well? It's really important to really wear that as pride and not have that imposter syndrome that often we can wear on our heads as we go out in our professional lives, as we go out and open that door to a boardroom to sit on that table, knowing that you're probably the only one if you have entered that door. Have that confidence and wear it with pride. There was a report from McKinsey actually that said the majority of Metaverse leadership roles are currently held by men. And this is despite the fact that women spend more time on the platform as Metaverse than men do. That really surprised me too. Why is that the case then? And I think there's so much to do here in the tech sector. I was thinking Metaverse, how do we do that? But look, we're already doing it. hats off to Paige for bringing this community together, because this is exactly how you start this. You come together as a powerful collective. You uplift each other. You support each other. If one is fallen, you pick her hand up and you lift her up and you give her all the love that she needs to go on and keep going. And that's super important for us, all of us, to do at all times. Right. So we know that the closing the gap is going to be a super important. It's not going to happen overnight, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. I just want it to be at the right trajectory. I want it to be an upward trend, and I can see that we are already on that with being here today and celebrating each other. The fact is, when more women work, economies grow. Women's economic empowerment boosts productivity, and it increases economic diversification and income equality, in addition to other positive development outcomes as well. I know the fact that I went to university means that my daughter can look up to me and think, I can do this too. And this is important. So keep at it and keep at it. How am I doing with time? Are we all good? Awesome. Good stuff. Right. Look, some of the stuff that's coming through is, and Paige, you're already doing this, all of you, there's so many women that I know here, Leo, Arts, Sans. I'm looking in the audience. I can literally call all of your names out. I have had one-on-one conversations, and I know you're already doing so much of this. But what they've landed on is that we need to do more education and skill development. Let's do that. If I know something that you guys think you can benefit from, come and ask me. I want to be able to share that knowledge. I want to be able to sort of, share that learning so that we all grow together. Financing. Let's think about what financing really means in Metaverse. If you have a talent, you have a service, charge fair fee for it. That's your right. You've got a talent, you've got a service. Go out there and sell that out to your customers. That shows and proves that women are adding value and delivering impact. Don't be shy of that. That is a business mindset. Let's not, remove ourselves away from that. Let's create a community that keeps growing, that keeps developing, that is so strong that no one can really come in and break that community. And let's look after our health and well-being, because in doing all of this, women always have that so much on their shoulders. If I asked all of you right now, as you're sitting on your couch or a chair or wherever you are wearing your VR headset, just give 1 second of attention to your shoulders. Are you feeling tension? Is there some stress there? Most of the time, women's carrying that all the time with them throughout the day as they're multitasking and doing millions of different things. So give yourself a bit of a self-reflection, look after yourself and your well-being. In closing, I want to leave with you with a sense of optimism and empowerment. While it's true that that the conclusions that have come out of UN CSW shed light on persistent challenges, it's important to remember the progress we've made as well. We know that globally more girls are attending schools. As much as I know it's not enough, but the trajectory again is positive. And we know that women now make up a significant portion of workforce, contributing to economies around the world in unprecedented ways. As we navigate the complexities of this world, let us remember the power of unity and collaboration. Together, we can build upon these achievements and overcome remaining obstacles to gender equality as well. Take with you the stories that will be shared today, the insights gained, the connections made. Let them fuel your passion, ignite your determination, and inspire your actions as well. Let's continue to amplify women's voices. Now, this is something that I've heard so many times in past. Let's give women a voice. We have a voice. If you hold on and just kind of give a chance for that to be heard, you will realize each and every one of us have a voice, and we are ready to use that and speak for ourselves. So let's do that. Let's give space for women to use her voice. Let's advocate for our rights. Let's champion our achievements, and let's do so with unwavering optimism, knowing that every step forward brings us closer to a brighter and more equal future. And yes, the gap might look big, and yes, it might right now looks like it'll take 266 years, But I want to get up in the morning and tell my daughter, I did something today that got us slightly closer to closing that gap. And if we can say that, all of us together, then imagine that will turn into years closer, getting to closing that gap as well. So thank you so much for your attention, your engagement, all the lovely confettis you've been throwing out, the hearts, everything, and your commitment to this important cause as well. The journey towards gender equality is ongoing, but with each of us playing our part, I'm confident that we will get there. Thank you so much, and I hope I've given you some thoughts, some takeaways, some facts to take away, reflect, and kind of share across with even wider group outside in the real world as well. Thank you so much, you all awesome women. Thank you, Paige.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, VivaCoach. You and your experience are making a better world. While you used your voice, I don't know if anyone else felt really emotional. I know it's not because, I was up late. It's because of the words that you said rang deep inside of me. It is not a favor. Giving us a voice, right? It's not
right.
like a favor. This is our human right, and we already have it.
That's right.
And valuing ourselves, to value our incredible skills. We know that there never can be social justice, true social justice, without financial equality and equity and closing that gap. And in fact, I believe that in the worlds that I believe that we deserve and that we can create in the metaverse and out, we can rise over that gap one day. Like we can change that scale completely. So thank you.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure, my absolute pleasure. One of the things that the UN director started off in her opening speech said was that the face of poverty even today is a face of woman. And that really hit me hard. That if you were to define poverty using just one another word, they said that would be woman. And